I was always astonished at how natural doing music and everything was for Pimp. I mean, he was a true prodigy. He's the best ear I've ever seen in hip hop in terms of knowing exactly what's going to work. There were songs that Pimp would produce and say in 94 and be like, nah, it ain't time yet. And then bring it back in like 97, be like, nah, it ain't time yet.
Wow.
And then in 2002, be like, okay, it's time. And then he makes it and it's a hit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never seen anybody that had their finger on the pulse, the zeitgeist, the ear to the street, however you want to phrase it. But he knew exactly what needed to be said and how it needed to be presented when you said it. And I was just riding shotgun for a lot of that shit. You know, he did the majority of the production, half the hooks. And so I would just kind of come in and fill in the blanks. You know, he'd make a beat, either he'd come up with a hook or I'd come up with a hook. And the writing with us was crazy because we were yin and yang. Like, we were two totally different people. We didn't dress the same. We didn't look the same. We didn't have the same friends. We didn't have the same taste in women. None of that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I knew exactly what his viewpoint would be, and I knew what mine would be. So we did a song about women. I didn't have to ask him what he said.
Right.
Because he wasn't going to say shit that I was going to say. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa.
Right.
And so we were always very complimentary of each other in rhymes to the point where he went to prison for over 4.5 years and came home. We went right back in the studio, played the beat. One of the first songs we did when we got our budget from Jive, because it was the first time we ever had like a real budget. So we had like $1 million budget. And this was when Ronald Isley was going through tax issues. So the first thing we did was like, our first record was Ronald Isley. Ronald Isley and the Isley Brothers music has been instrumental to our career.
Here we go again.
I was like, let's cut this man a check.
Yeah, here we
Like,
go again.
let's overpay. Let's put some bread in that man's pocket.
Yeah, on the Southern Way, there's a lot of Ozzy Brothers influence.
Yes.
Shaka Khan, Rufus, and Bill Withers, but you had like cocaine in the back of the ride. Y'all saying the hardest possible shit over these soul samples.
That was a concerted effort. Like, cocaine in the back of the ride is crazy. The original version of that was a Bob Marley sample. And Rita, when we sent it for clearance, Rita reached back. And Rita says, you can't use it because Bob not like cocaine, you know? If you have weed in the back of the car, you got to say that.
Right.
But you can't say cocaine. Bob didn't like cocaine. So I was like, cool, no disrespect. And every time, it was so funny because we would learn things when we would try to clear these records. Like when, for example, with Use Me Up, one of the first songs that we made, we sampled Bill Withers.
Yeah.
And Bill Withers was like, I'm not clearing the record until I talk to the talent. I don't want to talk to the label. And so they literally put us on the phone with Bill Withers. And Bill Withers was like, hey, do you know who you're in business with? This is Barry Weiss. His uncle was High Weiss. High Weiss stole my publishing.
Yeah.
These type of things. He was like, do you own your publishing? We were like, no, I gave that shit up for like $50,000. He was like, do everything you can to get that back. That's going to be everything. And
that's crazy.
You know, and that was something like within the first year of business.
He talks about that in that documentary too, but I didn't realize that he had that conversation with you.
He had that conversation with us.
Yeah, man.
And then the label was constantly like, what did he say? What did he say? No, he didn't say nothing, but he gave us the game. And this was something that took us literally maybe 15 to 17 years to get back in our possession, our publishing.
Well, good job.
But we were willing to sacrifice things to get it back. And now we're licensing it out, and I'm licensing. My publishing, the estate, is licensing his. We end up in movies, commercials. People are constantly sampling, doing interpolations.
Right.
And so it's an amazing revenue stream. And I definitely have to thank Bill Withers for making us conscious of that very early in our career.
Right. Isn't that crazy how y'all sample Bill Withers and it's like a lot of people get into trouble sampling, but y'all gain knowledge and gain a relationship.
And it was a very superficial song. Like, Use Me Up. Like, I did a version of Grandma's Hands, you know what I'm saying, when I was very young in the rap game. And I never like put it out, and it ended up being the same loop from fucking No Diggity or whatever. But just the idea of how close you are.
Y'all be early with them loops.
Yeah. No, but I'm going through records and CDs that Pimp had. I mean, you look at Riding Dirty, not to jump around from these albums, but the title track to Riding Dirty is a Wes Montgomery sample, you know? We talking about trafficking cocaine on a Wes Montgomery sample. This is a concerted effort to turn these songs somewhat on the head and make a full juxtaposition.
What we done started. Look at what we done started. This the people party. When opportunity knocking can't fuck with it, might as well roll with it. What's the word?